Well, good Saturday morning. I'm meteorologist James Hopkins, joined by Lee Southwick from our sister station over in Jacksonville, First Coast News. And we're going to talk all things weather. And of course, you know why we're here. We're going to talk about tropics. So we'll get to you just a second, Lee, because we have a weather impact alert here in Tampa due to a cold front, which is really pushing its way onshore. And the good news with this, and we'll talk about this coming up in the tropics, this could really help you guys out over on that East Coast, especially as we go throughout the beginning of next week. And again, we'll get to that when we talk about the tropics. So good morning, Lee. Good morning to everybody out there watching. And let's go ahead and break down quickly this weather impact alert that we're dealing with here in Tampa. And it's just, we're not expecting any severe weather. Anytime we have a cold front that pushes away onshore, we always have that potential of maybe a few water spouts, but haven't seen anything like that. Take a live look around, and really what you're seeing is just clouds, and you're seeing those rain showers pushing their way in downtown Tampa. Same thing, Lakeland now. Lakeland actually looked really good earlier this morning. The clouds are there now. Look at Clearwater Beach, Raymond James Stadium, and Armature Works, pretty much all dealing with the rain out there this morning. There's a live look out over Tampa Bay. And again, you see those downpours moving their way off in the east. Of course, they're coming west-east onshore with that front. And 78 feels like 81. And again, that's just because we have clouds and rain. St. Pete, you're looking off towards the east as well. You can barely see Tampa off in the distance here. So here's Tampa. And again, that's why there's Tampa right there. And again, you're seeing those showers and the dark clouds out there, and Clearwater Beach as well. What you have here, now look off in the background here, you see a little bit of blue sky back here. So there is the cold front. You're pretty easy to see there. So not the best beach day today. We do have, again, the best chance to rain is right now. Now, if you want to go out later this afternoon, actually here probably, I would say about 1 to 2 o'clock, you're not going to be looking too bad. You'll start to get some sunshine. And again, later on in the day, things will get better, and it'll be actually a pretty nice day to go to the beach tomorrow. Your marine forecast for the day today, breezy when you have storms rolling through, but that's going to be about it. This is not a very strong cold front. We're looking at those winds southeast shifting to the southwest. So your afternoon 5 to 10 knots, seas about 1 to 2 feet. And again, that light chop in the bay. We do have upper 70s to some low to mid 80s across the area. Look at these dew points. These are not going to be changing too much here over the course of the next couple of days. They will as we go into next week. And that is thanks to the tropical system that's going to pull down some cooler, drier air for us. But that's the second half of the week. So very muggy. Right now, we do have a few feels like temperatures in the 90s. 93 for Riverview. You'll see some storms here very shortly. Hopefully cool that off. 96 Bartow, 92 Lakeland, 94 for Wauchula. So your weather impact alert goes from now until 5 p.m. We'll see some isolated heavy downpours, and it will be breezy at times. Again, we're not looking at widespread windy conditions, but when you get these storms rolling in, that's where you'll see the breezy conditions. Have been watching this line here push its way onto the Nature Coast. Luckily didn't see anything. It was stronger offshore, had a lot of lightning in it. It is starting to die out just a little bit as it moves its way towards the I-75 corridor. And again, you kind of see the back edge of this. If I stop this here, you'll see the back edge. And this is where, again, the cold front's a little further to the west, but here's the back edge of the rain. So once the bulk of this moves its way through, again, it's good through your afternoon, things are looking pretty good. So there's your cold front again, a little bit further back to the west, but there's all the showers and storms pushing out in front of it. And we will see that continue to move through as we go. There's your afternoon. The front's already in the area. So this, again, we're watching this for two different reasons. One, because of the storms that's going to be pushing in for the day today. And two, because of what it's going to help us out with as we go into next week. So really quick, let's look at your Futurecast for the day. And what you're going to be seeing for today, again, is that line. So here we go now at 11 o'clock, and that's pretty much what the radar looks like. It'll push its way in. There's lunchtime, and then things start to break down. There's 3 o'clock, still dealing with a few storms out there. But by the time we get there, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, looking fantastic. Things are going to be great. Now, as we go into tomorrow, for your Sunday, we're looking okay. It's an okay of a day. We're going to see a lower chance for rain, but it is still going to be muggy. Again, that front not doing much to help us out. We'll see a few scattered showers, thunderstorms throughout your afternoon, evening. You see not a lot of activity going on, but there's your rain chances that are going to be going down from today into tomorrow. You'll notice that it's 30%. You're not looking at much here Most of it's going to be on the East Coast and then going down a little bit more Monday into Tuesday. So here is that cold front I was telling you about. And again, it's going to be pushing its way in through the afternoon and then kind of hanging out along the coast. Now, of course, you notice here we have the tropical storm, which is expected as we go sometime throughout maybe late tonight or throughout the day tomorrow to be our next tropical system, which will be Melda. And you see it moving its way up the coast. Expected to be a hurricane as we go Monday to Tuesday. There is that front, and again, stalled. And where it's stalled, it's really going to help out Jacksonville down to the south. And again, we'll break this down whenever we get to the tropics here, because we want to go to Jacksonville's local forecast here in just a minute, because there are going to get some impacts out of this. But that front not only will help block it, it will also help to weaken a little bit, because you'll notice, of course, here off on the edge, you'll notice that is Humberto. So it does start to weaken as the front dissipates and is back to tropical storm. But now that Humberto's moving out, we're expecting this one, it kind of get pulled out kind of right along with it. So tomorrow's going to be a better day for us here in Tampa as we're looking for a better beach forecast for tomorrow. If you want to head outdoors, again, it's going to be warm, it's going to be muggy, but you look at your rain chances, they're going to be late in the day, about 6 p.m. So a beautiful start to the day. We're going to top out once again in the 80s and once again get a quick look at over Ray J. Looking not good right now. But tomorrow, we do have the Bucks game, and that is going to be much better. Glad it's not played today. The Eagles are coming to town, 2 undefeateds. You can see there, 88 at kickoff, about mid-80s through the morning hours, like late morning. And then there's your rain chances, again, building throughout the game, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a factor there. Now, your moisture content, there's the front today, and there's your moisture content going down, and looks pretty low until we get towards the end of next week. And we're going to see really not much rain going on for your extended forecast. There's your rain on the East Coast, which again, we'll talk about here in just a second. You see all the way through Friday, as we're going to see not much here. Half an inch to maybe some spots, the blue there is close to an inch of rain. And I mentioned muggy. It's going to be muggy all the way till we get to maybe Thursday. Wednesday to Thursday, it does go down just a little bit. And you have the heat index. So if you're going to be heading out to the game tomorrow, 99 is your heat index. It is going to be hot. It's going to be humid. And there's your 7-day forecast. Weather impact alert for today through 5. And then rain chances down Sunday to Monday. Breezy Monday into Tuesday. And there's your rain chances up next week. So you have, I know, Lee, your rain chances going up as we go throughout the next couple of days. And also those breezy conditions. You guys got a lot to keep a close eye on as we go throughout these next few days.
We do. So we have some showers out there right now, but of course those rain chances could increase for our beaches Monday, maybe even into Tuesday, depending on if those outer bands reach us. So let's start with a look out at our radar right now. A few of those showers working their way across the first coast, some showers in Duval down through Clay towards Keystone Heights. Now on our Saturday, throughout the day today, we will see more pop-up thunderstorms. Those scattered storms could pack a punch. We could have some gusty winds and some heavy rain associated with those storms. Now, temperatures will be staying in the 80s because of the cloud cover that we have out there, with the front moving through, bringing the storms, bringing the cloud cover. And then into our Sunday too, we're also going to see those temperatures stay in the 80s. So today's highs ranging across the area, not too much of a difference here, mainly middle 80s when it comes to our high temperatures. So over the next couple of hours, we're going to warm up into the middle 80s, and then you'll start to see that drop later on. Notice though, those rain chances, they stay in the forecast throughout the rest of the day. Into this evening, can't completely rule out some rain. Now Sunday, we'll have coastal showers, not a washout of a day. The rain that does pop up will favor our coastal areas, so out towards the beaches. As mentioned, we're going to be staying in the 80s, and then you'll also notice the breeze starting to pick up here on the first coast. So by the afternoon and especially by the evening, you will notice that breeze. Now starting Sunday night into Monday, that's when we can start to see some of those outer bands move on shore, and we'll have our impacts at the beaches. So our beach conditions will start to deteriorate. So Monday, we have a weather impact alert in effect here in the Jacksonville area on the first coast. And this is for beach impacts. So our weather impact alert on Monday, we'll have rip currents, we'll have large waves, a surf of 6+ feet, and the possibility of flooding at times of high tide, some minor coastal flooding possible. But you need to continue to monitor the forecast because we could potentially see some of those outer bands, and that would mean more impacts for those of you especially closer to the coast. So here's a look at one model showing what it thinks is going to happen with this tropical depression and then eventually tropical storm and maybe even hurricane. Notice that as we head into our Sunday afternoon, the band's still out here in the Atlantic, but overnight into our Monday morning, some of those could start to move onshore. From there, throughout Monday, a few more of those bands can move onshore. So we already know at the beaches on Monday, we have the surf, the rough surf, big seas. We have a rip current risk out there, a high rip current risk, and the possibility of some minor flooding. But maybe for some of you, some heavy rain and gusty winds occasionally across the first coast as well, as some of those far-reaching outer bands do move onshore. And yes, it's possible into Tuesday as well, because on Tuesday, that's when we think it's going to be right off the coast for us. So notice this is 4 a.m., but still watching for some of those showers and storms to move onshore. Now, remember, this side of the storm, usually the less impactful side, sometimes you get those dry slots in there. So it's not going to rain for everyone. In fact, Monday and Tuesday could be beautiful for some of you, especially further inland where you're staying dry, you're seeing sunshine. But for others of us, and maybe closer to the beaches especially, that's where you'd have the worst of the weather, the heavy rain, the breeziest conditions, of course, the rough waters, the rough seas, and some gusty winds too associated with those bands. But outside of the rain bands and the storms themselves bringing the wind, we could just have the steady breeze already with the tightening of the pressure gradient as that tropical depression, soon to be tropical storm, lifts towards us. So as we head into our Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, you'll notice the wind starting to pick up a bit more, and then that continues into our Monday. So Monday morning, Monday afternoon, it's gusty out there through the evening hours too. You can see we'll have gusts around 30 miles an hour possible. So especially if you're heading out to the beach, it's getting pretty rough out there. So here's a look at our 7-day forecast. And again, Monday is our weather impact alert day. So today, scattered showers and thunderstorms around, but not associated with the tropics. Still, some of those storms could be strong with the gusty winds and the heavy rain. Sunday, we'll be watching out for more rain, especially towards the beaches, and the breeze is going to start to pick up. And then Monday, our weather impact alert for the beach conditions, the rip currents, the rough seas, the possibility of minor flooding at high tide. And then we'll have to watch out for the possibility of some bands moving onshore too, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds. And some of that could linger into early Tuesday. So we're going to watch that. But again, our weather impact alert here on Monday, we'll see if we extend it into Tuesday morning. But as you know, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to exactly where this is going. It depends on how far offshore it's going to be. So, I mean, we just got the new advisory. Would you like to break down the new cone that we got as of the 11 o'clock advisory?
Yeah, and it's crazy because this is a pretty complicated forecast because I just showed you the cold front that's going to be coming through here and stalling along the East Coast, but we also have Humberto, which is expected to become a Category 5 storm. So as that strengthens and moves its way towards the west-northwest, that's going to give future Imelda a push towards our coast. It's not till it makes that turn that it pulls it along with it, or at least that's what the forecast models are suggesting. Take a look at the tropical update, and again, we do have Category 4 Humberto, and we do have, again, you can see there the tropical spin with the latest update. Let's talk about Humberto first, because that's the one that, of course, is expected to become a Category 5 storm. Also going to help with the steering pattern as we go, really starting today all the way through midweek next week because of it pushing to the coast, it turning to the north, and then making that northeast turn and helping to break down the big mid-Atlantic ridge. So there it is, 145 mile per hour winds moving to the west-northwest at about 8 miles per hour. Now I want to point this out before I show you the forecast models because this is something that's crazy. We've had 8 named storms so far this season. 3 hurricanes, all 3 of them have been major. And this is the first time since 1935 that has happened, where the first 3 hurricanes of the season have all become major hurricanes. And again, this one is expected to strengthen up a little bit more as we go throughout the day today and into tomorrow. You can see there 155 mile per hour winds. That right there is the borderline. 157 is a Cat 5. It is going to be so close. Forecast models have been back and forth. Right now, the majority has it approaching Cat 5, but not making it. A couple of them still show it a Cat 5. And there it makes its turn as it slowly starts to weaken. So again, there is that turn. You see Bermuda there. Now, I know it's kind of hard to see, but Bermuda is under that M. So I can go ahead and zoom in here a little bit for you. And this is the bad part for Bermuda because we talked about there. So there's Bermuda right outside of the cone, but they're on the right side, which is what we call the dirty side, because that's where you get the wind, that's where you get the rain, that's where you get the storm surge, that's where you add on the forward movement to the wind speeds. Luckily, if it gets a lot closer, of course, they're still dealing with hurricane force winds. You're still looking at a Category 3 storm moving its way up and out. But look how the track pushes close to the coast and then back around. Again, that's going to help push Imelda towards the coast of the Carolinas, then eventually out. Look at your spaghetti models on Humberto. And again, good consensus with this one. Again, you're not seeing very many outliers. Just pushes a little bit further to the west of Bermuda than some of the earlier ones show, which is, again, good news for Bermuda. It's not the best news. It'd be nice if it passed to the east, but of course, unfortunately, it is not. So Tropical Depression 9 is what we have now. And you can see here, there is your low. There it is in Turks and Caicos, right near Turks and Caicos, northeastern Cuba, and approaching the southern Bahamas. Now, this one, of course, next name on the list is going to be Imelda, and that is pretty likely, I would say, as we go throughout the day into tomorrow. It's already Tropical Depression number 9, and you can see there, so we do have your watches and warnings there in the blue and yellow. So, okay, here it is. Tropical storm as we go throughout the day today, and it is expected to continue to strengthen, and there it is early on Tuesday morning. Look how close it hugs the coast. Luckily, Jacksonville is not in that cone, but it is going to be pretty close. So you don't have to be in the cone to get the impacts. Like Lee just told you, you're going to get the high surf, 6+ feet surf. You're going to get, again, you'll get some rain out of this one. Luckily, you're not expecting an abundance of rain, but possibly up into the Carolinas, and this is what we're going to break down. So Category 1 system as we go throughout Monday night to early Tuesday morning. And look how that bulge goes out. Look how it's now not including the Carolina coast. So that's the thing. That is kind of the shift that we have been watching. And again, likely due to, number one, that front being stalled off of the coast of the Carolinas down through Jacksonville. And then also Humberto. I know it's kind of hard to see because this model didn't update until we just came on. So haven't been able to move these around. But you can see there with the icon that it is going to weaken once it moves this way away. So let's take a look at your spaghetti models, and you can see that, look at that abrupt turn with a lot of them as it approaches the Carolina coast. Don't have many left over that are pushing their way in. So the more model runs we get like this, the more confidence we had. Of course, you're always going to get some of these outliers like this and like this. And you're even getting some of the European and look at that. So zoom in here, and these are basically runs of the GFS and the Euro still showing. Again, so this is 100 runs of each. You're still showing about 20 runs, the white of the Euro of it actually making landfall. The majority, again, 80 of them show them turning out. So this is why we'll keep a very close eye, because this is situated between a cold front and, again, Humberto. Humberto wants to push it towards the coast, and then it's going to start to pull it once Humberto makes the turn. So the front is going to help kind of block how far it can push into the coast, and also help weaken it as it confronts with that frontal boundary. So let's take a look at your GFS model. And again, these are all updates. Let me see if this one actually goes, because usually it's about this time this one updates. You see there's your GFS model going Monday. And again, we're looking at hurricane. And there it is approaching the coast and then moving its way out, following right behind Humberto as we go throughout Tuesday into Wednesday. Here's your wind forecast. And you can see there's both systems. So you'll start to see that as we go, like Lee mentioned, Monday into Tuesday, you'll start to get some breezy conditions. That'll push that surf. While the storm is approaching, it'll push surf in, and then it's going to shift our winds as we go throughout the day on Tuesday. So this could go to early on Tuesday morning. And there it is pushing its way out. And really going to look at the same thing when it comes to the European model, because again, both of these are really starting to agree, which is nice that they do agree. Also nice that it's not expected now to hit the coast. This could change, especially with how close the proximity is. Look at that. I mean, it is close. So, I mean, you get this front 50 miles one way or the other, you get a big change in your forecast right along the coast, especially if that front stalls a little bit further inland, again, by about 50 miles. So there it is on your European model, starting to make that turn, and then Humberto kind of pulling it away. Now look at your European model, because it has it going back south of Bermuda, then dying out. So we're going to have wind shear, we're going to have upwelling, which will help cool. Once it gets out of that Gulf Stream, it's going to cool the surface of the water there, which could help maybe this one die out. But it's going to be moving away from us regardless. There we go again, Sunday, and then Monday into Tuesday, and there it is again, thinking it's going to be a hurricane. Most forecast models do show this one a hurricane. And then starting to weaken as it moves its way out to sea, following behind Humberto. So we've got a lot of things still in the factor of this one that could help push it closer to the coast, pull it further away. And again, showing you that front. And again, this is the European model. So you see both of them here. There is Imelda, there's Humberto. And you can see how it's the outflow. So this is counterclockwise. That's what, as this one pushes to the north, going to help push Imelda towards the coast. But it's getting blocked by this front. So again, the cold front, wonderful thing. Bringing us some heavy rain here at the studio right now. You probably can't hear that. But again, that's really going to help out the coast of Jacksonville all the way up through Savannah and the Carolinas, of giving this one, kind of helping to steer this one as it pushes its way out as we go throughout Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Here's your moisture, kind of showing the same thing. That front kind of hanging out there. It is going to bring some heavy rain to the coast of the Carolinas. Even with that stalled front there, it's still going to push some rain in. I think latest forecast models around coastal Horry County and Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle, were showing 6 inches of rain. And then there it is pushing its way out. So again, this is what we need to focus on, and Lee, say the same thing. Just because you're not in the cone, just because you're not seeing a direct landfall, that doesn't mean you're out of the woods when it comes to impacts of this system. Like you said, you're going to see breezy conditions. What does your rainfall forecast look like for this one? The good news is for you, again, this is just going to be a strengthening system, and once you're below it, down to the south of it, the rain is going to be drying up. But what are your forecast models showing in terms of rain over the course of the next 3 days?
Not too significant. The closer to the beach you go, the higher those rainfall totals likely are. But how far does it push in? It depends on what model you're looking at. And again, because it is too early to know exactly what to expect here when it comes to rain, because we need to know how far off the coast this future Imelda will be. But those of you closer to the beaches, you have the higher chance of rain, the higher rainfall rates for those of you coastal areas. Yeah, you can see here I have the tropical watches and warnings up. And we do have the tropical storm watch now again in effect, including our coastal areas here. So right off the coast here in northeast Florida and southeast Georgia, we do have that tropical storm watch. So let's take a look at what we can expect here locally. Now, as mentioned, we could get some of those bands moving on shore. Watch with me here. Future radar shows you that these are going to push inland. And so who's going to see rain, how much rain we're going to get, that is still to be determined. But it does look like at least some of those outer bands will be moving on shore. So the rainfall rates are going to be highest for those of you closer to the beaches. And then it just depends how far inland those bands go. That's why under the need to know, we say you have to stay updated on the forecast. We are going to continue to fine tune this as we know exactly where future Imelda is going to go. So in the meantime, what we do know, what we are certain about is the high surf, the rip currents, and the possibility of some flooding at times of high tide due to that onshore wind that you can see there on the model. It could start to pile up some of that water. So again, weather impact alert in effect for Monday for the beach conditions, the water conditions, but we could get some of that rain moving on shore, as you can see here with that future model, some of those bands passing on shore. So we'll keep a close eye on that for you.
Yeah, and we keep talking about how complicated this forecast is going to be because, again, the proximity that Humberto is. One of the things that Humberto is going to do, if you look at the tropical steering flow, is that it's going to help break down that ridge. So as it moves its way up towards Bermuda, there's your ridge of high pressure. That's the darker color. Now watch it kind of break that down as it makes that curve. It pushes that. There's your low pressure up here. Here's your high pressure down here, but you got to watch this as well. So again, it's also going to help push this out, and we'll see some high pressure building into the north of that as well. So a lot of things could still change with this. Again, the good news is that the consensus is that this is going to be staying offshore of the Carolinas. So here we go into next week, and where we're going to have our focus once we get rid of these two systems is going to be, again, still looking at a low potential for the main development region. This is the time of year that we start to see our shift. Now we're looking at the Western Caribbean. We're looking at the Southern Gulf of Mexico. There is a lot still a lot of dust, as you can see, and another plume coming off, but watch what happens as we go into next week. That does kind of die down a little bit. That gives you the potential with the warm water temperatures of maybe seeing something else. As of right now, I don't see any forecast models over the course of the next 10 to 14 days pulling anything off the coast right now, but this is why. And again, this is why this time of year we see this shift. Look at the tropical heat potential in the Caribbean and up around the Bahamas. Again, this is one of the reasons why Imelda expected to strengthen into a tropical storm and then a hurricane, as there is a lot of heat potential down there. There is still some wind shear, which could help out as well. But we're going to continue to keep on top of this with everything that's going to help steer this, maybe weaken it, and maybe push it out to sea. So again, join us back here again tomorrow at 11. We'll do the same thing. And again, throughout this evening as well, keep it a close eye on these models.